Hello, my name is Bill, and in this video I'll continue with a shelf tour. So it's not more nonfiction books for Nonfiction November. So, Fire and Light, How the Enlightenment Transformed Our World by James MacGregor Burns. Winner of the Pulitzer Prize and National Book Award. (2013). In this engaging, provocative history, James MacGregor Burns illuminates the 200-year conflagration of the Enlightenment, when audacious questions and astonishing ideas tore across Europe and the New World, transforming thought, overturning governments, and inspiring visionary political experiments. Fire and Light brings to life the revolutionary leaders who, armed with a new sense of human possibility, created the modern world. Burns traces the origins of a distinctive American Enlightenment to men like Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, and their early encounters with incendiary European ideas about liberty and equality. It was these thinker-activists who framed the United States as a grand and continuing experiment in Enlightenment principles. Today, the same principles have taken on new urgency around the world. In the turmoil of the Arab world, in the former Soviet Union, and in China, as well as in the United States itself. What should a nation be? What should citizens expect from their government? Who should lead, and how can leadership be made both effective and accountable? What is happiness, and what can the state contribute to it? Burns' exploration of the ideals and arguments that form the bedrock of our modern world shines a new light on these ever important questions. The World Until Yesterday. What we can learn from traditional societies by Jared Diamond. So this is from 2012. In The World Until Yesterday, Jared Diamond, Pulitzer Prize-winning author of the best-selling Collapse and Guns, Germs, and Steel, returns to our past in search of a better future. Diamond offers a mesmerizing picture of human life as it had been for millions of years, glimpsed in modern or recent traditional societies. He neither romanticizes the societies nor scorns them as primitive. Instead, he shows how traditional societies constitute thousands of natural experiments in how to solve universal human problems. Experiments that we could never carry out on ourselves and our families. These natural experiments suggest better ways in which to raise our children, afford better lives for our elderly, think clearly about dangers, resolve disputes, and avoid the diseases of civilization. Drawing on 5 decades of his own fieldwork in New Guinea, as well as evidence from elsewhere around the globe, Diamond shows how today's traditional societies help us understand our past and improve our present lives. Pulley for Brontosaurus, Reflections in Natural History by Stephen J. Gould. So this is $1991. So there's no description on the back. No description to read. Just reviews. I could have looked it up on Goodreads or somewhere, but I didn't do that. Pandora Seed. The Unforeseen Cost of Civilization by Spencer Wells. (2010). So he's the author of The Journey of Man. I think I had that one in a recent video. In The Journey of Man, renowned geneticist and anthropologist Spencer Wells traced human evolution back to our earliest ancestors, creating a remarkable and readable map of our distant past. Now in his thrilling new book, he examines our cultural inheritance in order to find the turning point that led us to the path we are on today, one he believes we must veer from in order to survive. Pandora's Seed takes on a powerful and provocative globe-trotting tour of human history back to a seminal event roughly 10,000 years ago, when our species made a radical shift in its way of life. We became farmers rather than hunter-gatherers, setting in motion a momentous chain of events that could not have been foreseen at the time. Although this decision to control our own food supply is what propelled us into the modern world, Wells demonstrates using the latest genetic and anthropological data that such a dramatic shift in lifestyle had a downside that we're only now beginning to recognize. Growing grain crops ultimately made humans more sedentary and unhealthy and made the planet more crowded. The expanded population and the need to apportion limited resources such as water, created hierarchies and inequalities. The desire to control and no longer cooperate with nature altered the concept of religion, making deities fewer and more influential, foreshadowing today's fanaticism. The proximity of humans and animals bred diseases that metastasized over time. Freedom of movement and choice were replaced by pressure to work that is the forebearer of the anxiety and depression millions feel today. Wells offers a hopeful prescription for altering a life to which we were always ill-suited, recommending that we change our priorities and self-destructive appetites before it's too late. A riveting and accessible scientific detective story, Pandora's Seed is an eye-opening book for anyone fascinated by the past and concerned about the future. Digging Dinosaurs by John R. Horner and James Gorman. The search that unraveled the mystery of baby dinosaurs. (1988). Somewhere here it says who the illustrator is. All other illustrations in this book are Chris Ellingson. And then there's photographs in the center of the book. So I don't really give a damn is Jack Horner's unconventional answer to the inevitable question of what killed the dinosaurs. They dominated the earth for 140 million years. Let's stop asking why they failed and try to understand why they succeeded. With dedication, insight, a sharp eye, and some good luck, Horner has found his own answers in the eroded badlands of Montana. Setting out in 1978 on a search for baby dinosaurs, he spent 6 years uncovering one of the world's most significant fossil finds, including not only babies, but the first dinosaur nest ever found. More than 500 whole or partial eggs, and the tomb of 10,000 members of a dinosaur herd. So rich was this find that Horner was able to identify 2 new species of dinosaurs, and of even greater consequence, to piece together the social behavior that contributed to their survival. Digging Dinosaurs, the story of these startling discoveries, describes in detail how certain dinosaurs gathered together in colonies, made their nest, and cared for their young, much the way birds do now. Layer by layer, day by hot, dusty day, the rock and dirt are stripped away, and we are taken deep into a world that existed 80 million years ago. Gone forever is our image of the sluggish, terrible lizard. Jack Horner introduces us to a far different dinosaur, a caring, complex, graceful creature that comes fully alive in this first-person account. Why Evolution is True by Jerry A. Coyne. (2009). Among the wonders that science has uncovered about the universe, no subject has sparked more fascination and fury than evolution. Yet in all the ongoing debates about creationism and its descendant, intelligent design, one element of the controversy is rarely mentioned: the evidence, the empirical truth of evolution by natural selection, and that evidence is vast, varied, and magnificent, drawn from a huge spectrum of scientific inquiry, ranging from genetics, anatomy, and molecular biology to paleontology and geology. Why Evolution is True is a succinct and accessible summary of the facts supporting Darwinian evolution. Scientists today are finding species splitting in two, observing natural selection changing animals and plants before our eyes, and discovering more and more fossils capturing change in the past. Dinosaurs that have sprouted feathers, fish that have grown limbs. Jerry Coyne elegantly shows that evolution does not destroy the beauty of life, but enhances it. Reading this book will explain why so many scientists have dedicated their careers to resolving this debate, and why education administrators fervently fight legislation demanding that science curricula include equal time for anti-Darwinian theories. By demonstrating the indelible stamp of the process first proposed by Darwin, Jerry Coyne clearly confirms that evolution is more than just a theory. It is a fact that cannot be doubted by anyone with an open mind. The Moral Landscape: How Science Can Determine Human Values by Sam Harris. (2010). Sam Harris's first book, The End of Faith, ignited a worldwide debate about the validity of religion. In the aftermath, Harris discovered that most people, from religious fundamentalists to non-believing scientists, agree on one point. Science has nothing to say on the subject of human values. Indeed, our failure to address questions of meaning and morality through science has not become the most common justification for religious faith. It is also the primary reason why so many secularist and religious moderates feel obligated to respect the hardened superstitions of their more devout neighbors. In this explosive new book, Sam Harris tears down the walls between scientific facts and human values, arguing that most people are simply mistaken about the relationship between morality and the rest of human knowledge. Harris urges us to think about morality in terms of human and animal well-being, viewing the experiences of conscious creatures as peaks and valleys on a moral landscape. Because there are definite facts to know about where we fall on this landscape, Harris foresees a time when science will no longer limit itself to merely describing what people do in the name of morality. In principle, science should be able to tell us what we ought to do to live the best lives possible. Bringing a fresh perspective to an age-old question of right and wrong and good and evil, Harris demonstrates that we already know enough about the human brain and its relationship to events in the world to say that there are right and wrong answers to the most pressing questions of human life. Because such answers exist, moral relativism is simply false and comes at an increasing cost to humanity. And the intrusion of religion into this sphere of human values can be finally repealed. For just as there is no such thing as Christian physics or Muslim algebra, there can be no Christian or Muslim morality. Using his expertise in philosophy and neuroscience, along with his experience on the front lines of our culture wars, Harris delivers a game-changing book about the future of science and about the real basis of human cooperation. Transcend, 9 Steps to Living Well Forever. Ray Kurzweil and Terry Grossman, MD. Authors of the best-selling Fantastic Voyage. So like I said when I bought the Fantastic Voyage in my earlier video, is this book has valid ideas about living well forever, but the details of diet and supplements in this book are somewhat out of date. So look for a more modern book like the one I had shown before, Lifespan by Boy, what's his name? My mind went blank right now, but David Sinclair. So also look for David Sinclair podcast on YouTube. So when was this book done? 2009. So even though it's not that old, you still want to look for more up-to-date information. And David Sinclair has better qualifications to talk about diet and supplements. But you also need to do your own research before you believe any of that. Probably the number one thing to do is don't eat anything with added sugar. Evolution, the first 4 billion years. Edited by Michael Ruse and Joseph Travis. Foreword by Edward O. Wilson. So it's a big book. Picture doesn't go all the way around. So it's over 900 pages. So not quite 1,000. 979 if you include the index and all the extras at the back. But the first part of this is like articles written by different authors. And the authors, or the articles, have huge bibliographies if you want to read more. And then the last part is more like an encyclopedia, where it's got topics in alphabetical order. So it probably won't be a book you can sit down and read like a novel. You probably just have it on the side of your desk and read a little bit every once in a while. It's from 2009. Here on the back, it's from the editor's introduction. This book presents evolutionary science as a modern dynamic discipline and allows the reader to explore evolution according to his or her interest and background. The reader who wishes to be immersed in the science can focus on the major scientific themes, while a reader who is interested in intellectual history and influence of the subject away from science can enter through a separate set of essays. A reader interested in very specific topics or historical figures can find appropriate entries along with essays on related topics. Our goal was to provide an exciting and compelling introduction to evolution along with a basic reference work that could point the way towards a deeper study of individual issues. The essays include bibliographies, which serve as a guide to further and deeper reading. The essays in this book show not only how far we have come, but where the scientific horizons lie and how we might move towards those horizons. So like I mentioned when I video with the Charles Darwin book, The Origin of Species, I mentioned reading a modern book first, but this one's probably a little too in-depth for your first book on evolution. And the last book in this video, The Beauty of Fractals, by H.O. Peitgen, P.H. Richter. Images of complex dynamical systems. So this one's got a little too much math for casual reading, but it's got lots of interesting pictures. I played around with generating this image on my computer back in the 80s when I read the book Chaos by James Gleick. Is James the right name? By Gleick. And then there's large sections of color images. But in these color images, they're just labeled with map and a number. So when you're reading the text, you can refer to the image. And so when I was trying out to see what if ChatGPT was any good for writing code for you, I was improving my program for generating Mandelbrot set. So I've played with these ideas on my computer for 40 years, but still haven't read all my books on this topic. If you like some math, there's lots of math in this book, so you can learn how it all works. So that's all for this video. See you in the next one.